Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Kat, and today I thought that I would do something that I have gotten into recently and talk about it, and that's podcasts. So I listen to a lot of crime podcasts, just fun podcasts, things that are very interesting to me. I think that the best part about podcasts is there's something out there for everyone. So I was just going to talk to you guys about my top 5 favorite podcasts. And these are in no particular order other than I love them. So I decided to be super organized today, and instead of just like babbling on, I wrote down some notes here on this book thing I have. If I can find it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is, I think this is my absolute favorite podcast, and that is the Skinny Confidential, him and her podcast with Lauren and Michael. So Lauren and Michael are husband and wife. Lauren is a superstar blogger. She's a YouTuber, and she knows everything when it comes to health, your body, just basic tips, just really girly fun tips that I think are interesting, and books. And her and her husband have this podcast together, and they interview really interesting people. They just had Jessica Alba, they've interviewed famous psychiatrists. They just bring a lot to the table, and their topics are really well-rounded, that you get to learn so much about these people that they interview. And I've actually ended up following those people in their platforms, like with Jessica Alba and her husband Cash. I learned so much about Jessica Alba's beauty line that I was like, okay, I'm obsessed, I need to know more. So yeah, it's just a really good podcast. I love it so much. It comes out twice a week, so as soon as it comes on, I'm usually like, okay, I'm gonna listen. The next podcast is What We Said Podcast with JC Marie and Chelsea. So JC Marie is a Instagrammer, YouTuber, influencer, and she has the prettiest Instagram feed that I've ever seen in my whole life. She's from Arizona. Her and her co-host / best friend are both from Arizona, which I love because I'm an Arizona native too. They do a lot of interviews. They interview a lot of bloggers, YouTubers like Aspen Ovard. They talk about their husbands. They do a lot of things to get listeners involved. Like a couple weeks ago, they did one about craziest family stories, which I really liked. So it's just like a lot of well-rounded things, and it's funny. I'm always laughing, like just super interested. Okay, the next one is kind of new to me, but it has easily become one of my favorites, and that is the Morning Toast with Claudia and Jackie O. So these are 2 sisters who pretty much talk about pop culture, every great TV show, like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. They talk about The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They do show recaps of the Kardashians. They do a lot of show recaps and just really interesting things that I want to hear about. So I always learn all my celebrity gossip from all of them, and I just think it's really fun. They have really funny personalities too, so when I'm listening to them, it feels like I'm having a conversation with them, just with my friends, just talking about all the juicy stories. So my next podcast that I'm going to talk about is the first podcast that I ever started, the first podcast that I ever listened to, and that is Coffee with Chracel. They are one of the OG podcasters, I'd say. They started doing podcasts when podcasts wasn't even a thing. So Coffee with Chracel is about, it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they do a podcast together. They live in Seattle. They talk about coffee, obviously. Rachel was a YouTuber back in the days, and she quit, and now she does this podcast with her boyfriend, and like I said, they talk about coffee, they talk about Seattle, they talk about their cats, important news, things that happen around the country, and video games. I like this one because it's just a really calming podcast. They both have like really calming voices, so I just like listening to it like on a long car ride or something. But I've been listening for a long time. Like I think they started in 2016 and I've been listening since then, so I have been following them for a long time. Also, I'm gonna cry if you can hear the lawnmower that's happening outside. Okay, and the last podcast I'm going to talk about is The Root of Evil, True Story of the Hodel Family. So this is about these two granddaughters who their great-grandfather was Dr. George Hodel, who was involved or connected to the Black Dahlia case. And the Black Dahlia case is about this woman who was murdered in Hollywood in the late 30s, I believe, and she was left in a way for people to find her in the most ugliest way, and they never pinned the murderer. But a lot of people believe that it was this George Hodel, and so this podcast dives into that and the background of this guy's family and just how insane they are, and it's the craziest, most interesting podcast I've ever listened to. I did not want to stop, and all the episodes are up too, which is even better because then you don't have to wait for the next like podcast to come up. So yeah, those are all my favorite podcasts. Let me know what podcasts you guys listen to in the comments down below, and if you like these types of videos, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Bye!